Dzień dobry. Myślę, że
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to all of you at our presentation of the Grupa Azoty Group's performance for the first half of 2015, both for the parent company as well as Puławy and Police. We will also present information on the performance of Kędzierzyn. After the conference, we invite you all to a lunch downstairs. And as an additional information, let you know that we have found a phone, so if any of you has lost a phone, we have it. I'll give the floor over to Paweł Jareczewski, President of the Management Board of Grupa Azoty. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to discuss our financial performance, I would like to inform you that we have just completed contracting of mineral fertilizers in Poland. We have signed more than 80 contracts and also agreements for sale, representing 5.5 million tons, which this volume covers both the domestic market and also we have a very stable position on export markets. Our group in the nearest future will therefore focus on the production and cost effectiveness, and we will also introduce new fertilizer products, specialized products focusing on concrete crops, especially porphosphate titanium, new formulas of ammonium nitrates, which have already been tested in our facilities, especially for urea in the formula of granules, which will be one of the most advanced products of that kind in the world. One of global companies have just launched such production, so we are among the very few leaders in terms of such products. As far as our financial performance is concerned, I think that our financial performance was very good, both in terms of EBITDA at 778 million PLN and our revenue at 5.1 billion, and also net profit of 458 million PLN. We have delivered our goals, which were defined in the operationalization of our strategy, both Azoty Pro project and diversification of our procurement, especially in terms of gas, natural gas, and also caprolactam, benzene, and phenol. The most favorable trends concern feedstock markets, especially natural gas, as well as coal and energy, electrical energy, good spreads on benzene and polyamide, and also benzene caprolactam polyamide. Especially in the past several months of the first half of the year, good price trends for compound fertilizers. If you have read our semi-annual report, you probably know that the urea was a little bit lower last year, but other products such as calcium ammonium nitrate and ammonium nitrate were more favorable. Stronger US dollar and PLN exchange rate was also one of the more favorable trends. We had a record-breaking output of fertilizers, especially urea at Puławy, which was driven by a more effective use and acceptance of products from ammonia storage. We produce ammonia and we process this ammonia more effectively without long-term storage. Therefore, the output of urea was higher than before. And also at the Azoty Pro scheme, which has driven down costs in selected areas. As far as our major highlights are concerned, I'll give now the floor over to Mr. Andrzej Skolmowski. Among the milestones and highlights, we have selected 8 which deserve your attention. First of all, we have launched the construction of an PDH unit for propane dehydrogenation. And also we have an information for you. Polish investments for development are now ready to take part in these projects. In April and May, after many months of negotiations, we have signed 3 major agreements. One agreement with a consortium of 4 banks for the total amount of 1,005 million PLN, and also 2 agreements with the European Investment Bank and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development for the financing of our overall corporate needs and purposes, especially for the financing of our CAPEX project. We have already informed you with much joy a couple of times before that our representatives are included on the boards of the IFA and Fertilizers Europe. The CEO, president of the management board, became president of one of those organizations, and he's also responsible for food security, which is of major importance for the group. But we have also been included in a very prestigious FTSE index. And another major information, we are participating in negotiating a very important agreement between the European Union and the USA, the very famous agreement for the transatlantic trade and investment partnership. You know our strategy by now, and I would like to inform you that we are consistently delivering our strategy. After months of negotiations, this has been adopted and is delivered. As far as our most important tasks that are implemented right now, I'd like to especially emphasize the PDH unit, that is the propane dehydrogenation unit. This is a very ambitious goal, but we will make our utmost to deliver that project. As far as production of energy from natural gas and CCGT unit, this is also a very important project. And if we look at cost effectiveness of such projects, then both Puławy and Grupa Azoty will have tangible effects of those projects. Mineral fertilizer granulation plant at Grupa Azoty S.A. is one of those projects I would like to emphasize as well. And last but not least, Kędzierzyn and energy projects, and especially combined heater power plant. The decision had to be taken because Kędzierzyn faced a lot of problems in terms of its power supply and its efficiency in that area. I'd like to also mention 2 problems in terms of Kędzierzyn. We are still trying to reach an agreement on an investment. We have already secured a technology, and this is a well-tested technology and well proven around the world. And in terms of gasification of coal, this should be discussed in more detail later on during our presentation. Also, this investment is of major importance for us. As you can see on the slide, polyamide 6. This is an investment which will give us a chance to for us a chance to process caprolactam more efficiently and into the final product, which is polyamide 6. And we'll be trying to process those products even further to retail products, and this will have definitely an impact on our profit margin from sales. Another slide concerns key company development and highlights. I will discuss the Police section. The first information is of major importance for you, obviously, because it concerns dividend payout. So Police, after hard times in our past, is now able to pay dividend, and we are hoping to keep that trend for the next years to come. The next element is the launch of the PDH unit. We have already discussed this before, but we also have two other elements highlighted, which are important for Police, and these are also listed below. As far as Grupa Azoty, Zakłady Azotowe Kędzierzyn is concerned, our assessment of the first half of the year is also very favorable. We would like to inform you that we are currently revamping the fertilizer storage facility. This is a major project accounting for around 20 million PLN for around 50,000 tons of products. We will be completing this project at the end of the year. We have also launched a new unit for the production of Oxoflex, and this product has already been presented at the trade fair and awarded at the trade fair. We have also laid a cornerstone for the new combined heater power plant. We have already installed a drum, and a power unit is in progress. One of the drivers that determines our performance, especially lower revenue, is a long maintenance shutdown of 45 days. And this has influenced both production in fertilizers, but also in OXO alcohols. We have also implemented a number of other projects which are not listed on the slide, including nitric acid. We have taken steps in that area as well. We have launched a CAPEX project to increase production in the Red Nux area, and also a couple of other projects. At Puławy, we have established the Grupa Azoty Rescue Education Center. This is one of effects of our synergy of the great chemical synthesis. We put a lot of weight to improving security and safety of our production. So the Grupa Azoty Rescue Education Center is meant to train and improve the work and performance of our rescue staff. We have recorded a record high output of urea, which was driven also by our CAPEX projects. And directly, it resulted from the ammonia storage facility, which was brought in stream. We are trying to get closer to the end customer, that is farmer. We are working on a number of products which will improve the work and efficiency of farmers. Therefore, we have started a 3-year program for the testing of soil, dubbed Grounded in Knowledge. We are working on the Puławy project in the power plant, and we have already secured an environmental permit for that project. As far as the parent company is concerned, in the first half of the year, it has received a number of awards, and we want to emphasize those awards as well because they're important for the entire group. The Golden Website Award was one of them, and it is it is an outcome of all work of all people engaged in the investor relation website and the investor relation team who are sitting here in the first row. So congratulations to all of you for this award. An award of the Minister of State Treasury for the best communication with retail investors through a website was also received by the group. And also those agreements we have signed with banks, this matter has already been discussed. We have launched the construction of the new mechanical fertilizer granulation plant, and in a couple of days, we will officially announce the launch of work on the polyamide 6 construction project. As far as the financing agreements concerned, we have already discussed it thoroughly, but we need to mention it as one of the most important highlights of the first half of the year. As you can see on this picture, we have signed an agreement with a consortium of banks, PKO, BJK, WBK, and ING. And also an agreement with the European Investment Bank and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, especially considering that the latter is one of our shareholders. This is a sign that our shareholder, the bank, is very much interested in the development of the group and in our CAPEX projects. As far as our market share is concerned, we are not only the producer and seller of fertilizers, but we are important for the development of the Polish agricultural sector, both on a micro and macro scale. As far as global developments are concerned, I'd like to mention that the #1 company, fertilizer company in the world, has just bought 75% of Grupa Azoty's counterpart in the UK. And also OCI, which was a merger between Egyptian and Dutch companies. This merger resulted in the development of one of the biggest companies in the world. And this means that the US fertilizer market will be impacted very heavily. And we are looking at the situation because this will have an impact on us as well. We are focusing on our distribution area, both now and in the future. And we are presenting a number of products to our customers, and we're offering certain products and services as well, which do not have any counterparts in the world. So both the Grounded in Knowledge and other services and other projects are the projects that deserve a mention. And Agrofesta as well. First of all, Grounded in Knowledge is a project for soil testing in Poland to find out what the nutrient content is and which crops are most favorable for a given soil type. And also, this will have an impact on our fertilizer production and sales in the future. This program also makes it possible to calculate the amount of fertilizers to be applied on a given soil. Our company and our group is not associated usually with IT, with the IT sector, but I'll have to mention that all our operations can be handled using a mobile phone, from production up to through contracting up to sales. We have implemented an e-commerce system. We are also very intensively promoting our projects through our sales representatives on site. They are also informing farmers of the developments and new products on the market. This year, we have focused on two areas. First of all, we had a short and warm winter and high temperatures in the summer, which resulted in droughts in several areas of Poland. First of all, this impacted our demand, the demand for our products, but also made it impossible to apply certain fertilizers, which was important for us as well. We have already contracted our sales in the Polish market, and we are expecting, both in Poland and in Europe, and that the sales will reach 21.6 million tons. And we are looking at Ukraine, which means that production will be intensified and crop production will rise, which will drive demand for fertilizers. As far as market information is concerned, I will now ask Andrzej Skolmowski to discuss this matter, also focusing on China and on the oil market. Our position in all our target markets remained rather stable. 90% of our revenue is derived from European Union's markets. In the first half of the year, in addition to an upward trend in GDP in Poland and in major European markets, especially in Germany, which is important for our fertilizer segment and also for our chemicals segment, we also need to focus our attention, and all analysts need to focus their attention on China. So this in particular deserves to be discussed and analyzed, as this will impact also the situation of Grupa Azoty, the entire group. In the first half of the year, price trends for our basic products are presented on this slide number 12. As far as compound fertilizers and DAP especially, they remained rather flat year on year. However, ammonia, nitrate, and urea, those prices declined year on year. A better situation was recorded for ammonia sulfate, going up by 12%. As far as chemicals are concerned, the first half of the year and also last months of the previous year were characterized by fluctuations in prices, changes in petroleum products and benzene resulted in reduction of prices, of average prices, both for caprolactam and PA6 went down by respectively 15 and 70%. As you can see on this slide, a decline in benzene was unfortunately much higher than in other products in this segment. As far as imports to the European Union is concerned, our imports went up slightly year on year, remaining rather flat in other product groups. On discussing our market outlook, we need to take into account, on the one hand, the situation in China that is developing as we speak, but also in the agricultural segment, the number one information is the drought and its impact on the profitability of the farming operations and also the buying power and crop output in Poland, which will obviously have a direct impact on the demand-supply balance on the market and on our prices. As far as the data presented by the Central Statistical Office at the end of July, this data indicates that the situation is not favorable at all. As far as plastics are concerned, the first half was the period of better performance, but as we know, third quarter of the year is never a favorable period in the plastics segment. So we are looking at the situation closely. Most of our customers reduce their contracting at the end of the second quarter of the year. So we are in for the third quarter. September is looming near, so we are waiting for the situation to unveil. And I will not hide that the situation after the first 6 months and in the perspective of the next 6 months is not very favorable for us. We are diversifying our procurement as well in terms of chemicals. And as far as feedstocks and energy feedstocks are concerned, we are using a diversified basket, especially in terms of gas. And the new gas tariff announced by PGNiG, which has defined a maximum price, a cap on gas price, and also introduces additional terms and conditions, but also additional privileges for certain companies. As far as the revenue is concerned, we have reported 5.1 billion PLN. And this chart on the slide presents a year-on-year comparison both for revenue, EBITDA at 778 PLN, which was significantly higher year-on-year, and also our net profit at 458 million PLN in comparison with the previous year, and also broken down into first quarter and the second quarter. In the first quarter, we have performed very well, considering that this was a period where our maintenance shutdowns took place. As far as our major drivers for EBITDA are concerned, 3 must be mentioned. 224 million PLN. This was an increase in sales of products and services, and also the sales volumes But also, we need to mention that the sales prices in the first half, compared to the first half of 2014, resulted in reduced EBITDA by 40 million PLN. The first half was also the period which saw a positive EBITDA in all segments. This deserves a mention. Of course, the highest EBITDA was recorded in fertilizers, but we have also managed to improve our performance in terms of EBITDA in plastics, in the chemicals, as well as in the power segment and other projects. The fertilizers segment improved in sales. The entire segment reported sale volume at 3.5 billion PLN, a significantly lower sales volume for plastics year on year. This was obviously driven by lower prices, which in turn were impacted by prices of benzene. Therefore, the chemicals segment and oxo alcohols reported lower sales volumes, obviously. The same goes for the power segment, and for other projects, our performance in terms of sales stayed rather flat. As far as fertilizers are concerned, we have reported an increase in sales. What deserves a mention is the fact that our compound fertilizers which was one of our major targets for improvement, have actually reported an upward trend by 28%. And 963 million PLN. At lower prices of urea and ammonia, which we've already discussed, the nitrogen fertilizers section has reported a comparable profitability levels year on year. As far as plastics are concerned, I have already mentioned that a downward trend was reported. This was also impacted by the situation in the Far East, with sales volumes dropping by 19%. However, our EBITDA improved versus the previous year at 15 million PLN. Of course, the contribution across the group is obviously the highest in the fertilizers segment. It represents 550 million PLN. As far as our chemicals segment is concerned, our sales dropped by 8%, and also the sales volumes dropped by 3%. The price effect of the feedstocks was most visible in the oxo alcohols, with sales at 259 million PLN, which represented a decline year on year. Both urea remained rather flat year on year, melamine went up by 3%, and titanium white went down by 7%. EBITDA of the segment remained rather flat at 93 million PLN. As far as our assets are concerned, our balance sheet total represented 10 billion 200 million PLN, up by 10%. Borrowings in total represented 1.5 billion PLN, we need to emphasize that our cash and cash equivalents was at a very high level, especially in Puławy, and net debt remained at a very safe level, 285 million PLN, which is a far cry from the maximum level we have defined. Our costs went down by 2.3%. This was driven mainly by the trends in prices of our major feedstocks. A decline in the costs of third-party services was a very favorable effect as well for us, especially in terms of transport costs and transport services offered directly to our customers. This is all as far as the entire group is concerned. I'll need to give you one additional information which was of major importance for the performance of the entire group. The first half of 2015 was an exceptional period for our group, as it showed that investments and capex bring measurable or deliver measurable effects. In terms of ammonia stockage especially, this was an exceptional year for us and for the Polish chemical industry in general, because we have practically managed to eliminate ammonia stockage altogether. And our dreams actually come true, because we have developed a new form of cooperation with PGNiG based on the price determined by the Energy Regulatory Office, and our prices will be indexed to stock exchange prices. And we also have an opportunity to buy gas from other suppliers as well. Thanks to this policy and the entire planning process, we are able to see measurable, tangible effects. Now, Mrs. Anna Goll will present the performance of Grupa Azoty Puławy, both for Q2 and for the entire first half of the year. Our performance was, I think, very good. We have used the opportunities that were offered in the first half of the year. As far as our net profit is concerned, it reached 95 million PLN, EBITDA at 144 million PLN, and these results are significantly higher year on year. What deserves a mention is also the fact that we have delivered those results at slightly lower revenues from sale at 848 million PLN. All our results presented on this slide are higher than in the previous year, especially EBITDA for the first half of the year. The same goes for net profit. The major drivers of our good performance included volumes, sales volumes, and feedstock prices. However, there was also a negative trend, and it is obviously prices of our products, which represented minus 40 million PLN. As far as our performance by segment is concerned, the agro segment is still the leading segment of our operations, generating revenues at 60%, followed closely by the chemicals segment, accounting for high share of our revenues from sales, which has been increasing month after month, which was especially driven by the sales of urea and related products. In Q2, the performance of our agro segment was slightly lower year-on-year, which was offset by the performance in the chemicals segment. However, all in all, our performance is much higher than in the first half of the previous year. As far as the first half of the year is concerned, both our EBITDA and revenues from sales are higher. In terms of our agro segments, we need to first mention a reduction in revenues from sales, which was driven mainly by nitrogen fertilizers, resulting from lower sales prices and also slightly lower sales volumes, especially for the urea, ammonium nitrate, and ammonium nitrate. Sulfate products improved our sales. As far as phosphate products are concerned, higher sales revenues resulted mainly from higher sales volumes of ammophosca superphosphates. In the first half of the year, both prices and volumes of our sales versus the previous year are higher. One exception is ammonia sulfate and also ammonium nitrate. As far as the chemicals segment is concerned, it is mainly melamine and caprolactam that we need to focus on, and also urea, whose share has been rising. As far as melamine is concerned, the sales volumes are going up, however, the prices are going down, which offsets the positive trends. In caprolactam, our revenues from sale suffered greatly from a decline in prices. In urea, the situation was impacted by both increased volume of sales and lowered prices. Our situation in terms of our financial position is stable. Our assets are increasing both in terms of fixed assets and current assets. Our group finances its operations mainly from own funds, and about 78% of our balance sheet total is equal to our equity. As far as our costs are concerned, in comparison with the previous year, we have recorded a very slight increase at 0.1%. So we can say that our costs stayed rather flat. However, the cost structure has changed. We have reported higher costs of labor, as well as taxes and related charges, especially awards and bonuses paid to our employees, and also redemption of our CO2 emissions allowances. Those events were related to the previous year. That's why they did not have a major impact on the first half of the year, and they were offset by the consumption of benzene and other feedstocks as well. And those costs had a direct impact on our operations and our performance. As far as Police is concerned, the first half of the year and the second quarter, we believe that this period was very good for us. And we need to analyze the situation in two areas. First of all, everything that is going on within the company. We had an increase of several major positions here. We are cooperating very effectively with our business environment. We are also working together within the group, the entire group, selling our products, especially nitrogen products. And this consolidation within the entire group brings measurable effects, both in terms of knowledge and financial performance. The second quarter of the year was impacted in terms of sales by two elements. First of all, the volumes, but also the price. For the first time ever, we have not lowered our prices of compound fertilizers and DAP in the second quarter. This is something we have always been doing. However, this year we decided to take a different direction, and you will see that this move was a success, as it brought excellent results for Police in the second quarter in comparison with the second quarters of the previous years. So these results in terms of sales of our fertilizers deserves a prize, because this is something we are very proud of. This was not an accident, though. We have been looking closely at the situation of our dealers and our customers. We knew that their storage level, the stock levels, were not too high. So we knew that our products will be sold to our customers. But on the other hand, we needed to produce that volume, and the breakdowns of our plans following the implementation of several incentive programs and bonus programs went down significantly and improved our efficiency. And we are able to produce volumes as they are required. We have always been dreaming that Police will become a company that is focusing especially on compound fertilizers. Because if you look at our previous years' data, you will find easily that this has not been so. There were certain years that we have even reported negative results. But in the past 10 years, in general, we can say that fertilizers did not bring very tangible effect in terms of our financial performance. However, this year, we can say that fertilizers is the segment that will bring us money. The nitrogen fertilizer is the driving force behind this project, and also urea. Those products stabilized our financial performance in the segment. We have never even tried to think that this will actually happen in the future, but it has. And both in terms of volume and in terms of our revenue, it is clear that our results are very good. If we look at EBITDA, and we will see that our operations were very profitable. EBITDA at 12%. This proves that both in terms of revenue and in terms of cost, we are doing our job well. In our strategy, we have defined that our company will deliver both return on sales and EBITDA at more than 40%. And 14% is a very good level in comparison with our peers. This will definitely drive our performance up. And this is something we take a lot of pride in. And if I look at Police right now, after 2 quarters, we are already at 12%. We, of course, are looking at a very challenging period ahead of us, but we will do our best to maintain this upward trend. In terms of our sales volumes, they're presented on this slide, and also prices of our products were a driving force behind our good performance. We have produced more products, therefore our costs had to increase as well. And also certain costs in terms of transport services, we have managed to reduce those costs. Let me remind you that potassium chloride represents 500,000 PLN in terms of our costs, and we have been able to effectively manage this cost. We know that fertilizers are the segment that is the driving force behind our good performance, but we're also trying to implement a number of ideas and projects to further improve our performance in other segments, especially in terms of costs of feedstocks. This in particular includes costs of feedstocks in the pigments segment. We are negotiating the price of those feedstocks as we speak. We have expressed some interest in Stinkwarna some time ago. We even tried to take over the company. However, we need to reconsider our strategy. We have made a bid for the purchase of this company some time ago, and this project allows us to acquire certain knowledge, certain information, which we are now using. I need to say that the stabilization, and I need to stress this word, stabilization in the sales of our fertilizers will be of major importance both in this quarter and the first half of the year and in the future as well. In terms of our financial performance and especially revenue in fertilizers, this speaks volumes in terms of our situation on the market. In addition to costs of our feedstocks and costs of our products, we also have one additional problem this year. We are trying to generate certain ideas and incentives to prevent rising costs in the future. One example is propylene, which will be produced for Kędzierzyn by us, and ilmenite as well. This is not a major part of our business, but if conditions on the market are favorable, then this business is able to also generate good financial performance. We are also considering an opening of a facility in Senegal. We are awaiting for a production license. We will ask the management board, the group's management board, to give us a go-ahead for this project. This project will secure the supply of ilmenite at a very low cost, the lowest cost in the world. As far as our assets are concerned, you can see that both our profitability ratios and debt ratios are at a very safe level, and we are in a position to make investments on this basis. Our major costs increase at 12% resulted from a very higher, significantly higher production of our major products year on year, and therefore our cost had to increase accordingly. As far as Grupa Azoty, Zakłady Azotowe Kędzierzyn is concerned, we have reported stable financial performance. In the history of our company, both major areas of our production, that is fertilizers and oxo alcohols and plasticizers, have always been offsetting one another. We are tackling certain problems right now, especially a major maintenance shutdown, which impacted our performance in the first half of the year. We had to replace the ammonia reactor after the first couple of weeks of work. We have reported better effects, and this is a good news. We are planning on a very short 2-week maintenance shutdown for the next year. As far as our financial performance concerned, we have reported more than 900 million PLN. As far as EBITDA is concerned, the EBITDA remained rather flat, and this is a good news for us. And also our net profit is better year on year. By segment, obviously those results reflect directly the situation in our company. The maintenance shutdown impacted certain results in specific segments, but in fertilizers, our performance was much better in the first half, and also in the power segment, we reported good results better results year on year. As far as the first half of the year is concerned, January was a very important month for us. It was very weak. From February to May, when the maintenance shutdown began, we have reported a rather stable performance. And as far as our assessment of the oxo alcohol is concerned, let me mention, first of all, that in the first half of the year, the propylene price went up. In comparison with 915 euro, the price went up to 1,030 euro. This obviously impacted the situation in oxo alcohols. We had a slight oversupply of oxo alcohols, especially cheaper products from the east of Europe. We also have imports phthalate and non-phthalate plasticizers from Asia, and this price is lower by approximately 50 euro on the European market. In terms of PVC producers, the demand was lower for PCV granulate products, but we are also taking steps to drive down our costs on the oxo unit, and we are selling the entire product volume on the market. As far as our assets are concerned, our situation is stable. Certain ratios even went up. Our EBITDA is at 13%, Our balance sheet total is very good. Our cash and cash equivalents went up, and our net debt is at a very safe level. All in all, what we are doing right now to improve our performance is, first of all, we are trying to increase our revenues. In November, we should launch the urea ammonium nitrate unit, which should drive additional revenue. We will also increase the product volumes in red NOx, and we are also trying to increase the amount of nitric acid available in our company. Secondly, we will be specializing our efforts in the OXO segment, especially specialist esters will be in the center of our attention. We are working on a laboratory. And thirdly, we are taking steps to bring down our costs, not only for our OXO products, but also in terms of gas. Those projects are meant generally to replace gas with natural gas with other types of gas, meaning cheaper types of gas, which will definitely impact positively our financial performance. I need to mention that in addition to a high downward, very significant upward trend for urea ammonium nitrate, and Lower Silesia is the area in Poland which drives very high demand for this product. This is something I wanted to inform you of as well.